Friends, it's me, Meerab, and I welcome you to Starspill USA. Tonight's story isn't just about money. It's about illusion, control, and the price of power, the real cost of chasing an empire built on secrets. For years, the Brown family showed us an image of success, big homes, bigger dreams, and a patriarch who promised his wives the world. But behind those wide TV smiles, behind the sprawling cul-de-sacs and sunlit desert dreams, was a truth darker than anyone imagined. The truth has finally surfaced, not from reporters, not from critics, but from within their own home. From their daughters. The mirage of wealth. For over a decade, Sister Wives was sold to the world as a story of faith, family, and resilience. The Brown family stood together on camera, painting a picture of unity, a plural marriage that somehow managed to defy judgment and financial ruin. Kody Brown, the confident patriarch, always had a glint in his eye when he spoke about his business ventures and investments. He wasn't just building homes, he was building a legacy. But now that illusion has cracked. In a revelation that has rocked the Sister Wives fandom, Gwen and Mykelti, daughters of Christine and Kody, have reportedly come forward in what sources call a joint tell-all interview that changes everything. Their words don't just describe disappointment, they describe betrayal. It was never what it looked like. The daughters claim that the Brown family wasn't living in comfort. They were living in crisis. The big houses, the fancy cars, the new furniture, none of it came from wealth. It came from debt. Gwen's voice, as quoted by insiders, trembles when she says, "We saw the numbers, the court filings, the ledgers. It wasn't a family business. It was a family drowning in credit cards." The so-called Kody Pass dream, their promised land, wasn't a symbol of unity at all. It was collateral, the move that broke everything. To understand the collapse, Gwen says, you have to go back to where it started, Las Vegas. Back then, the Browns lived in 4 homes built side by side. Each wife had her space, her mortgage, and a degree of freedom. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. The family had structure, the income from TLC was stable, and the finances, while stretched, were manageable. But then came Kody's vision, Kody Pass. He sold it as destiny, a place where the entire family would live in harmony on shared land. What no one knew was that this dream was funded by loans and illusions. Gwen recalls seeing the financial statements years later. They didn't have the money to move. They were already over-leveraged. But Dad wanted to play the visionary, so he gambled our entire future on a fantasy. The secret ledgers. What Gwen and Mykelti reportedly uncovered paints a chilling picture. A central family account, controlled primarily by Kody and Robyn, was meant for shared expenses and savings. But in the secret ledgers, they found patterns that told a different story. The money from TLC, often 6 figures per payment, would enter the account. But within days, it would vanish. We saw where it went, Mykelti says. Designer stores, vacations, loans, credit cards. There was nothing left for us. No savings. No security. One entry after another showed purchases from Victoria's Secret luxury boutiques and high-end home decor stores, all tied to Robyn's household. This was the beginning of what Gwen calls the 2-tier family system. On one side, Kody, Robyn, and her children living comfortably. On the other, everyone else counting dollars to make it through the month. When the dream turned into debt, Christine, Gwen's mother, had long been the one who balanced the books. She knew how to stretch $1 to feed 20 mouths. But when Robyn entered the family, Christine's spreadsheets became meaningless. Mom would make charts and plans, Gwen explains. Robyn would just spend. It wasn't about family anymore. It was about appearances. When My Sister Wife's Closet launched, the jewelry business Kody and Robyn once hyped as their golden ticket, it became a black hole. The ledgers show years of losses, not profits. They kept funneling money into inventory that never sold, web maintenance fees and warehouse costs, all to keep up the image of success. But it wasn't just that business. Gwen and Mykelti revealed that Kody had gone through phases: day trading, high-risk investments, even multi-level marketing schemes. He'd pour thousands into opportunities that always ended in losses. There was a trading account, Mykelti reveals. We saw the records. Tens of thousands gone. It was like he thought he could gamble our way out of debt. Every bad bet pushed them deeper into the hole, but Kody's pride wouldn't let him stop. The Utah land deal, the final straw before the move to Flagstaff. Kody allegedly poured the last of their liquid savings into a shady land development deal in Utah. He wanted to build a new polygamous community, his version of the Dargers Rockland Ranch, but the deal collapsed before it began. The permits never cleared. The partners pulled out. The money, their nest egg, disappeared. This is why the move to Flagstaff wasn't a dream. It was desperation. Kody wasn't moving towards success. He was running from ruin. The Flagstaff Freefall Flagstaff was supposed to be their fresh start. Instead, it became their undoing. The Vegas home sat unsold, draining their finances with every passing month. The family took on multiple expensive rentals in Flagstaff, thousands in rent payments piling up, with no stable income beyond the TLC checks. The tension grew unbearable. Janelle and Christine tried to stay afloat, even moving into RVs to save money. But what they didn't know was that the land they were sacrificing everything for, Coyote Pass, was already mortgaged to the bone. The secret loan. This is the revelation that shattered everything. When the money ran out and the banks refused to lend more, Kody and Robyn allegedly turned to a private lender. They took out a high-interest loan against the Coyote Pass land, not to build, not to develop, but to survive. To keep paying the bills. To maintain the mansion. To cover credit cards. Gwen's voice breaks as she explains, "They mortgaged our future for groceries and designer clothes. The land that was supposed to unite us became the chain that trapped us." The loan's terms were brutal, reportedly preventing the sale of individual parcels unless the entire balance was paid off. That meant no one could sell their portion. Not Christine, not Janelle, not anyone. They were stuck. "It's not land anymore," Mykelti says quietly. "It's an anchor." The family implodes. By the time Janelle took legal action to recover her share of the money she invested, the truth was unavoidable. There was nothing left. The land was worth less than the debt. The family pot was empty. The empire, the Brown family legacy, was ashes. And behind it all, Gwen and Mykelti say, was a father who refused to listen. He kept saying, "We're building something great." But every time we questioned him, he'd call us disloyal. We weren't disloyal. We were broke. A family built on sand. Now, years later, the daughters have decided to speak, not to destroy their family, but to finally tell the truth. The story they're sharing isn't about a reality show anymore. It's about the danger of ego, of living for cameras while your real life collapses behind the scenes. As Gwen puts it, he built a dream on sand, and when the tide came in, it took everything. Friends, this is just the beginning. Because as we uncover more about those secret loans, the Coyote Pass debt, and the legal battles now quietly unfolding behind closed doors, one thing becomes clear. The Brown family isn't facing a storyline anymore. They're facing bankruptcy, lawsuits, and a legacy in ruins. The empire that began with love and faith has fallen under the weight of greed, pride, and betrayal. And as Gwen and Mykelti's voices echo across the fandom, this isn't just a scandal. It's a reckoning, just a scandal. It's a reckoning. Kody's frantic insistence that the family must remain united on the property was never about love, loyalty, or principle. It was desperation disguised as leadership. His fury at Christine for wanting to sell her portion of the land, his cold dismissal of Janelle's practical worries, none of it came from a man protecting family unity. It came from a man terrified that one loose thread could unravel everything. Beneath the talk of togetherness lay a crumbling financial empire, a house of cards held up by secrecy and borrowed money. If even one wife pulled out or one legal challenge was made, the illusion would shatter. The secret loan, the unpaid balances, the false promises, all of it buried under Flagstaff's red dirt, would be exposed. Kody wasn't fighting for his family's future. He was fighting to keep his devastating secret from being unearthed. The portrait emerging from recent revelations isn't just one of mismanagement. It's one of complete financial ruin. The mansion that Kody and Robyn proudly occupy, once a symbol of their elevated status within the family, has now become a gilded cage. Even that home, the supposed crown jewel of their new life, is drowning under layers of debt. Sources close to the situation claim it carries not one but multiple financial burdens: a primary mortgage, a home equity line of credit, and additional liens. It's a life funded by leverage, a lifestyle they cannot afford. The upkeep alone, taxes, utilities, endless maintenance, bleeds thousands each month, an impossible cost sustained only by dwindling television income and mounting credit. This isn't about one bad decision or one unfortunate lawsuit. It's the cumulative wreckage of a decade's worth of reckless choices. The image that emerges is of Kody and Robyn presiding over a kingdom of debt, monarchs of a bankrupt dream, ruling from a mansion that's become their prison. Christine escaped early, taking her stability with her and building a new independent life. Janelle, armed with both courage and legal standing, now fights for what is rightfully hers. Mary, long self-reliant through her businesses and bed and breakfast, stands apart. Her finances insulated, but her name still tied to the family's public downfall. The daughters' testimonies have become the final heartbreaking confirmation. Their words reveal what many had long suspected. The so-called Brown empire was never real. It was an illusion, sustained by television contracts and hidden debt. Gwendolyn and McKelty's decision to speak, insiders say, wasn't born from bitterness, but from exhaustion. A desperate attempt to end the cycle of financial deceit that has harmed everyone, especially the younger siblings whose futures hang in the balance. The alleged numbers are staggering. When you combine the secret Kody Pass loan, multiple mortgages, maxed-out credit lines, and remnants of failed ventures, the total debt reportedly surpasses $1.2 million. $1.2 million owed, with no meaningful savings, no substantial assets, and an income stream that grows weaker with each season. The downfall is not a distant fear. It is their present reality. Their own children have unveiled the truth behind the curtain. The king and queen have no crowns left, and their castle is collapsing. To understand how deep this collapse runs, one must go back to Kody Pass, the centerpiece of this entire tragedy. The private loan Kody and Robyn allegedly secured wasn't just a financial transaction. It was an act of betrayal. The family's shared LLC, created to manage and protect collective assets, was quietly used to take out the loan without informing the other wives. Janelle, who invested her savings from the sale of her Las Vegas home, was never consulted. Christine, who had also contributed, was left in the dark. Even Mary, who had an official role in the LLC, was reportedly bypassed. What was meant to be a joint family legacy was transformed into a secret financial weapon wielded by two. The terms of the loan, described by insiders, are chilling. A hard money loan with double-digit interest rates, potentially between 12% and 15%, riddled with penalties and balloon clauses that could demand full repayment within a few short years. It wasn't financing, it was a ticking bomb. This explains Kody's erratic behavior in recent years. His anger, paranoia, and obsessive control were symptoms of a man drowning in debt. Every month, much of the family's income vanished into interest payments on that loan. Nothing was building. Nothing was being paid down. They were simply trying to outrun the inevitable collapse. McKelty allegedly shared a moment that captures this perfectly. During a family meeting about Kody Pass, Janelle presented detailed budgets, spreadsheets, quotes, timelines for infrastructure, water lines, septic systems, power. Kody dismissed her. He deflected with talk of divine timing and spiritual unity, vague nonsense meant to mask the truth. There was no money. Every penny was already spoken for. Janelle's practical dreams were being sacrificed to keep the illusion alive, to keep the lights on in Robyn's mansion. That mansion, now infamous, was a financial disaster from the very start. Purchased for nearly $900,000 at a time when the family was already struggling to offload multiple Las Vegas properties, it was a reckless act of indulgence. Yet for Robyn, it was non-negotiable. She wanted permanence, luxury, proof of her position as the head wife. And Kody, driven by pride and obsession, obliged. The down payment, insiders claim, was patched together through desperation, draining remaining family accounts and taking a home equity loan against one of the unsold Vegas homes. It was borrowing from tomorrow to survive today. When the Vegas home eventually sold, most of the profit vanished into repaying that very loan, leaving almost nothing for investment or distribution among the wives. Gwendolyn later described the deception. They told everyone it was a success story, a sale that set us up for the future. But the documents told a different story. There was barely anything left after the debts were cleared. That missing money, instead of funding the family's land, had quietly financed the down payment on Robyn's mansion. Once settled, the spending didn't stop, it accelerated. Lavish furniture, landscaping, constant deliveries from luxury retailers, everything purchased on credit. Insiders say multiple credit cards in Kody and Robyn's names were maxed out, carrying tens of thousands in high-interest debt. It's the classic picture of financial denial, people going broke, trying to look rich. Kody's identity had become entangled with his image as the family's provider. To admit failure was unthinkable. He kept spending, investing, grasping at one more big opportunity to prove he was still in control. Each failed venture only deepened the hole. For Robyn, spending was about control and validation. As the newest wife, material comfort meant security. Every purchase, every piece of jewelry, every delivery reinforced her place in Kody's world. But the comfort was built on quicksand. Behind the tears and fear of losing the house lies a far darker truth: the fear of exposure. Fear of the day when no amount of spin or selective editing could hide the financial apocalypse beneath their smiles. Gwendlyn and Mykelti's accounts speak to that human cost. They remember their mothers working endlessly, Christine budgeting every meal, Janelle tirelessly contributing, while Robyn lived in abundance. They saw the imbalance, the sacrifices, the silent unfairness. Janelle's lawsuit has now forced open the doors. Her demand for a full forensic accounting of the family LLC gives her legal right to every financial document: loan agreements, bank records, credit statements. And for the first time, the truth can no longer be hidden in shadows. The kingdom Kody built wasn't made of love or faith. It was built of paper, credit, and ego. And it's all turning to dust. Janelle's lawsuit was the key that finally unlocked Pandora's box, the secret vault that hid the Browns' financial empire of illusion. Its catastrophic effect on Kody and Robyn cannot be overstated. With no equity left in Coyote Pass due to the undisclosed loan and the mansion mortgaged to its limit, there are no liquid assets, no emergency funds, nothing left to satisfy Janelle's legal claim. They can't simply write a check. To pay her what she is rightfully owed, they would have to sell one of the only two major assets they still possess. But selling Coyote Pass would trigger disaster, a likely default on the private high-interest loan. Once that debt was settled, there would be almost nothing left to distribute. The family's grand dream would evaporate, sold for pennies on the dollar. That leaves only one option: the mansion. Robyn's mansion, her crown, her status, her fortress. The thought of selling it is her waking nightmare. It would mean surrendering her throne, losing the one tangible symbol of her supremacy. Downsizing to a modest home would be a public confession that their kingdom was built on sand, not substance. It would shatter the image they have fought so desperately to maintain. This is why Kody's fury towards Janelle burns so violently. She isn't just suing him for money. She is dismantling the false empire he built around himself and the wife he crowned as queen. Her lawsuit forces him to face a reckoning he has evaded for a decade. This is the final chapter of a story that began with a man's vision of a polygamous dynasty and ends in a courtroom, surrounded by his former wives and children, all demanding an accounting of his financial sins. The empire is bankrupt. The patriarch exposed. Not a businessman. Not a visionary. A gambler, reckless and unrepentant, who wagered his family's future and lost. The love story he once sold to the world has crumbled into a record of transactions, where loyalty, affection, and resources flowed in only one direction. And now, the truth is illuminated by numbers that can no longer be hidden. The reported $1.2 million debt is not just a figure on paper. It is a monument to years of emotional and financial neglect. The testimonies of Gwendlyn and Mykelti pierce deeper than balance sheets ever could. Their words reveal a house divided, a financial apartheid where the children of Christine, Janelle, and Mary lived on scarcity, while Robyn's household enjoyed excess. That betrayal cuts the deepest. Mykelti, now a mother herself, reportedly spoke through tears as she recalled her wedding. "We were on a shoestring budget," she said. "Mum did everything she could to make it beautiful. We were told the family account was tight. We were told to be frugal. But the financial records tell another story. At the same time, Mykelti was cutting costs for her wedding. Large withdrawals labeled as family celebrations appeared, funds allegedly used for a lavish birthday party for one of Robyn's children, and a luxury trip for Kody and Robyn. The contrast is heartbreaking. One daughter counting pennies while another enjoyed extravagance. Gwendlyn echoed her sister's pain when speaking about education. "Many of us took student loans," she said. "We worked part-time jobs through college. We were told the family couldn't afford tuition support. That's just how it was in a big family." Yet, the financial statements allegedly reveal a different truth. Payments made for vehicles for Robyn's older children. High-end tech for their hobbies. Talk of college funds that didn't exist for anyone else. The most glaring example? The purchase of a brand new ATV for Dayton, a luxury toy paid from the family LLC, while Janelle's sons were laboring in blue-collar jobs, saving for used trucks. It wasn't just financial inequality. It was emotional erasure. The message was clear: your needs come second. Your futures are yours to fund. Theirs are a family investment. Years of quiet resentment festered beneath the surface until it finally exploded. Those secret ledgers, the ones Gwendolyn and Mykelti reportedly uncovered, were the Rosetta Stone, the translation key to a decade of deception. The documents revealed the shell game, money from TLC payments flowing into the family LLC account, only to be quickly siphoned into a secondary account controlled solely by Kody and Robyn. From there, the funds were used to pay the mansion's mortgage, settle personal credit card bills, and finance luxury purchases disguised as living expenses. It was a deliberate, calculated veil, making private indulgence look like family business. And when anyone dared to question it, Kody's defense was psychological warfare. First came the sermon. He would invoke faith, unity, and divine calling. He would tell his wives that questioning him showed spiritual weakness, a lack of trust in their shared covenant. Transparency, he claimed, was divisive. Doubt was betrayal. If faith didn't silence them, fear did. He would pivot to aggression, accusing the questioning wife of ignorance or incompetence. He would dredge up her past financial struggles, twisting them into proof that she wasn't qualified to question him. Janelle, the most financially literate of them all, was his favorite target. Her grounded, practical budgeting was labeled poverty thinking, a phrase Kody used to mask his own financial recklessness. In truth, Janelle's so-called poverty consciousness was prudence, the very quality that could have saved them had Kody ever listened. Robyn played her own part with precision, the art of weaponized vulnerability. Whenever her spending was challenged, tears followed. She spoke of insecurity, of protecting her children, of past hardships. She painted herself as the fragile one who needed shielding. And just like that, the narrative flipped. The wife asking a rational question became the villain. Robyn, the victim. It was emotional manipulation perfected. Kody's aggression from the front, Robyn's tears from the rear, leaving no room for truth or accountability. One by one, the wives stopped asking. They built quiet independence instead, their own small budgets, their own silences, while the central family fund was slowly drained. And that brings us to the courtroom, where illusion finally meets evidence. Janelle's lawsuit isn't some small claim. It's a civil suit of magnitude. It involves property, fiduciary duty, and years of concealed transactions. The court won't take Kody's word or his temper. There will be discovery, the process he has feared above all. Every document must be surrendered. The private loan papers, the mortgage records, the LLC's full bank history, every card statement. And then comes the forensic accountant, the financial detective. They will trace every dollar, every hidden transfer, every expense disguised as business. The report they produce will be irrefutable, admissible, and devastating. Then will come the depositions, hours of questioning under oath. There will be no escaping with charm or scripture. Mr. Brown, the lawyer will ask, did you or did you not take out a private high-interest loan on Coyote Pass without full consent from the other LLC members? There will be no room for sermons. Only yes or no. Each luxury charge, each unexplained withdrawal, dissected and read aloud under the glare of fluorescent lights. The man who once thrived on control will find himself stripped of it, forced to answer to the truth he buried. In the shadows of this chaos stands Mary, the woman long misunderstood. For years, her decision to stay puzzled everyone. But seen through this financial lens, it was strategy. Mary knew the collapse was coming. She saw the imbalance, the favoritism, the danger, and she acted quietly but decisively. Her purchase of Lizzie's Heritage Inn wasn't a hobby. It was her escape route, a declaration of independence. Despite Kody and Robyn's resistance, she found her own funding. She built something tangible, something that couldn't be seized or siphoned. Her inn stands in her name alone, immune to the Brown family LLC and its growing debt. Her success with LuLaRoe, regardless of opinions about the company, gave her private income and full autonomy. While the others argued, Mary insulated herself. She built her financial lifeboat while the family ship sank. When the dust settles, her business will still stand, her security intact. Janelle's lawsuit, Christine's freedom, and Mary's foresight. Together, they close the chapter on Kody's empire of illusion. For Kody and Robyn, there are no exits left. They cannot pay what they owe without selling the mansion. Selling it means humiliation, admitting to the world that their palace was a facade. The alternative is worse: bankruptcy. If the debts truly reach $1, $2 million and the assets are over-leveraged, bankruptcy may be the only legal path. Under Chapter 7, their properties would be seized and sold. The mansion, vehicles, even their share of Coyote Pass. Credit destroyed. Privacy gone. Legacy annihilated. This isn't a fall from grace. It's a self-inflicted collapse. Kody Brown's legacy will not be that of a modern patriarch who redefined plural marriage. It will be that of a cautionary tale, a man who mistook control for leadership, spending for success, and pride for love. He didn't lead a family. He orchestrated its implosion. The tell-all testimonies from Gwendolyn and Mykelti are not the cause of his ruin. They are the eulogy. The Browns were not destroyed by outsiders. They were dismantled from within. What lies exposed now is not just financial bankruptcy, but moral and emotional bankruptcy too. The king is a pauper. The queen is cornered. And the castle is already in foreclosure.